everybody, and welcome to Millionaire Faith, the testimony of an entrepreneur. And you are here with your host, the Queen of Vision, Dr. Sylvia Jones. And I have a very special guest with me today, Mr. Als Edmondson. He is just a wonderful servant of Christ. I can't say enough about him, but I'm going to let him just tell you a little bit about himself.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Sylvia Jones, to have me on today. It's just definitely an honor to be on your show. I've watched it several times, and you have some amazing guests all the time. So I'm honored to be able to sit here with you and just chop it up a little bit. And so my name is Als Edmondson. I'm the owner of a Cut Above the Rest barbershop. Also, I run a nonprofit called Making a Difference. Cut Above the Rest barbershop has been around for over 30 years now, serving the community on the Near East Side. We've been doing health screenings. We do a lot here, and I can just name a few things. We do health screenings. We do Narcan training. We've done back to school stuff. We do men's conversation, barbershop talks, and we were one of the first organizations that started doing men's health and wellness probably about 22 years ago with the American Heart Association. So when you see barbershops doing health screenings, you know how they do studies and things like that. We were the one that launched that right here at the Cut Above the Rest barbershop. And right now I'm working with Dr. Rogers out of Utah, and we're trying to combat colon cancer in African-American men right now. We'll be getting together and doing some more studies. Last year was a great year for us to just, get some focus groups together to talk to men about colon cancer, because, my man, the Black Panther, he died at an early age. Had he known, because we always think we got to get a colonoscopy at 50, we can get it earlier. And so, I just like to say I'm just more than just a barber. I care about my community, and I love my church family, and I just, enjoy helping people and planting seeds.
I hear you planting seeds. Now, that was a mouthload, okay? You doing a lot in the community. So you are originally a barber, but you have been able to take that entrepreneurial base and really expand it into your community, into really being a servant of God.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how I know you from church, but tell us a little bit about your story of how you found Christ and how he has been able to help you in your business.
Well, I have to give all the credit to my wife, Kimberly. She took me to New Salem. And so I remember, I grew up in a Muslim background with the Nation of Islam. And then my mom, we kind of like separated. So I went to stay with my dad. So I hadn't been to church in a long time, since like 10 years old. My grandmother used to take me to church with her every now and then, but it wasn't consistent because I would only go over there on the weekends. And so for a long time, from middle school to high school to some college, I never had faith. I knew God, because I've been baptized, but I never, really went to church per se. Mm-hmm. And so, I said, she's like, won't you come to church with me one day? And I'm like, okay, no problem. This is before we got married.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
I understand.
and
Lord, give us any kind of way.
And so I went to church, and I didn't understand, the whole service process or anything like that. But then I remember taking this class called A Doctrine of Faith, taught by Deacon Preston at the time, because I said, let me find out what the foundation is of Christ. And so took a class. Then also met Brother Tracy Robinson, talked to him. He was teaching a class on how to study the Bible. And so I began to do those things. And then after that, I think God just started working on me from there. I've always been somebody that had a compassion for helping others, because I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the first child from all the family. So I'm used to taking care of my nephews, my cousins, and all those things like that. And so that's my first encounter when I began to want to learn more with just those classes that New Salem provided for new beginners. And then after that, I started a small men's group. Your husband comes to it.
And my husband is in that group. So thank you, Lord, for that.
Yeah. So when we did the small care groups, we named ours Men of Purpose. And so we would get guys from the church, but it didn't just expand from New Salem because it's at a barbershop. Other men start coming that were men of faith, or other guys would come. They get what they need to get through whatever they was going through. So it became a ministry. And, we've been going almost about 20 years now. And so we got a meeting tonight, but we're doing this virtual. But needs to say is that, and then that way, everybody start learning from everybody. And we have some people that were in our group that were a little bit more knowledgeable. Basically, we have more conversations about how can we be better fathers? How can we be better men? How can we be better for our community? So that's where it is. I mean,
well, my friend, that is really what this Christian walk is all about. It's about connecting with people, connecting with your community, connecting with other souls to help them to find Christ for themselves. So I am so proud of you. The impact that you've had on my husband. You cut his hair, but you also help him out, in a way that I can't necessarily. But I'm thankful for that. So tell us a little bit about, so let's go back to this entrepreneur, because you have been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So let's not pass over that. Okay. That in itself is a testimony. Right. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about some of your biggest challenges.
Some of the biggest challenges that I've had recently is just, personalities. When you got a staff of people, you have to learn to communicate with each personality in different ways. Like one guy, I have to be a little bit more demanding. Other guy, I can just say a couple words and he'll get it. Because one thing in business, as you know, we got to deal with personalities. And when I had my beauty shop at the time, I had to deal with 7 personalities and I had to talk to each one differently. And so, and I learned that by just picking up a book called Study Habits, and just how to communicate with interpersonal skills with people. And, I'm not a college graduate, so I just, my thing is I can read a book. So I'll get a book. I just test it out. If I fail, nobody know but me. But needs to say is that, it's just, those, just the challenges of dealing sometime with your staff. And then, recently, we're dealing with COVID. And one of our biggest challenges is, we got to have masks. We got to do things to not only protect ourselves, to protect our customers. And so we're making sure that we sanitize and we clean everything up. And then at the end of the night, I come through with a vapor sprayer and spray everything down. But, I haven't had a whole lot of challenges lately. But in the beginning, one of the things I always try to tell people, if you're self-employed, keep pay your taxes. Because a lot of times these entrepreneurs, they don't pay their taxes. And so, they can't generate wealth without paying your taxes. And there's some things that you need to do and some things you need to record. You got to have good book. I got a good accountant. She makes sure I take care of all my stuff. I pay monthly. Instead, I remember having to pay that lump sum at the end of the year when I see how much I got to pay. I said, I ain't never doing this again. And of course, you want to be able to build for the future. I think one thing that I'm working on right now is trying to teach barbers how to plan to retire, because, I got 30 years in. Can I do another 30? I don't think so. But needs to say is that I want to teach them like, hey, this is what you need to do to plan for your future, because most of them leave the business broke. And when I talk to them, because they got cash on hand, now we got Cash App, and they spending, they buying cars. You can't even buy a house sometimes. Most of them are renters. And I'm like, look, bro, you can get this. I done had 3 houses because of a good bookkeeping. But I want to be able to teach the barber field. I'm putting together a class now and having my good friend of mine come and teach it for me, Nicole Simpson, that does I forget the name of her company, but it's something for life. But needs to say is that I want her to teach them how to retire and save money. And that's most important, because I give these guys, I give them a sheet like, this is what you need to do. It's up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And then I think that's just one thing. And I think just another thing is that being in business, you have to make some tough decisions. Whether or not somebody you might have to fire at some time, and but you know, it's some tough decisions you got to make.
Yes.
And so I've had to let many people go because of customer service. One, not paying on time. Two, I'll work with you if you're trying to work, but the thing at the end of the day, we have to make some tough decisions. I've had to let some really good people go and some really good friends go because of character. And we're Christians. We're trying to run a Christian business. When people come in our businesses, they want to feel the love of God when they come in, and the atmosphere has to be a certain way. And so there's been times when I had to let people go because I'm gonna talk to you once, I'm gonna talk to you twice. Next time, it's hasta la vista, baby. But so you know, just and then I think another thing that I've worked on throughout the years is being patient. Being patient, you know, just in, you know, self, business, family, just trying to be patient.
Yes, you touched on a lot there, my friend. Especially, you touched on one of the areas that a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about, but is that we've been called to run this business, and it also means that sometimes we have to make tough decisions as far as firing, as far as disciplinary actions. And one thing about it is that God has equipped us for that. He calls it wisdom. To be able to make those decisions when we need to. So I hear you on the radio all the time. I hear you you big time, okay? So tell us a little bit about some of your accomplishments. What has been some of your biggest accomplishments?
I think the biggest accomplishment, you know, really caring about men's health, because when we first started working with the American Heart Association, I remember this young lady named Jill Shaw, and she was working, you know, at the American Heart Association, and another acquaintance of mine introduced us, and she said, "You need to help educate Black men on their health." And I'm like, I'm like in my 20s, like early 20s. I ain't thinking about that. I think I'm gonna live forever. And so she talked me into doing it, and that's when we started doing blood pressure screenings in barbershops. And then she pushed me to do prostate cancer awareness, because diabetes, cholesterol is number one, prostate cancer is number two, because we as men, we deal with a lot of stress from work. You know, we figured we got to do it all by ourselves, and which causes stresses on our body and the food we eat. And so, you know, those are the things I began to, you know, focus on that men's health piece. And then it drew more men into the barbershop because they, you know, they're getting health screening, they get the blood pressure checked. They can find out where they're at and know their numbers, and then get educated, because we wasn't doing that in barbershops. And I think also another one of my biggest accomplishments was this last year, Father's Day weekend, we held a breakfast for fathers through my nonprofit, and we had over 235 men come to a free breakfast to hear a good word and hear about finance, health, you know, how to be a good dad. Those are the things that I get a little choked up, because it just so good. It was good. And so it was good to see men of all color come together for one purpose, just to celebrate fatherhood. And then after that, week before that, you know, I called for the ceasefire in the city of Columbus, for the youth to put the guns down. I paid for commercials on their stations, and they did shut it down for a day. And I think this is powerful. There's somebody like me, and I didn't want the politicians to be out, you know, all in the mix, you know, but when we did our press conference, I wanted ordinary people just to be there, to be able to, so people can see people that look like them, that's right here in the community with you every day. And so that was powerful right there. When we did our press conference, I think the ceasefire had to come from people from the community that's with these people every day. And I don't think they listen to our politicians because they don't come in our community as often, or see them in a barbershop as often, or even, you know, maybe come out to an event as often. And so, they need to see people that they with every day, and they got a familiar face and a familiar voice of doing things. And I think that made a difference. And then I had an opportunity to reach out to some of the people on the streets and say, hey, can you just get the message out? I had kids, post the ceasefire, the web flyers, like, hey, we're gonna put them down for the day. And that thing went viral around the country. And I can remember it, and this by being a talk show host, you got to get your body up for energy. And so when we was doing it, I talked to like 7 news stations as of why. And the reason why we got these young men killing themselves because the absent father, and because of circumstances, drugs, whatever the case, the father is gone and the mom is there to raise the boy. And so that's the root of it all. And so we're trying to now push the focus on, trying to build men up through, the fatherhood piece. And we're looking forward to our next breakfast. I think it's going to be really big because the food was so good.
Oh my goodness. I know it was. I know somebody threw down in that kitchen.
Oh yeah. Creole Kitchens does a great job. We did fish and grits. People ain't had fish and grits before.
Oh wow.
Fish and grits, potatoes, and then we got sweet potato waffles and can't believe it's vegan was out there and the coffee was donated. I mean, people just pour it out and it was free. And so I'm looking this year to continue doing it free. I'm soliciting donations and people are starting to send stuff in. But as long as I'm living, and as long as we're gonna make sure we celebrate our fathers in our community, no matter what color they are. It's all about fatherhood.
Wow, you touched on such a integral piece, and even that I deal with is that father of the absence of a father or not having that relationship can cause a lot of rejection roots that grow up into bitter fruit. That I'm so happy that you are really addressing that issue and trying to help fathers to be better.
Right. So but you know what? And so think about when you have to deal with business, the same thing. It all connects.
It all connects because it shows up. Hold on. No, your trauma can show up in your income statement. It really can, because you can't connect with people like you want to because you have issues. And sometimes people will look at you and not think you acting funny or think you are some kind of way, and you just trying to keep your own, protect your own self from the pain that you are suffering. Right. So I'm glad that you are pushing into that. Because it is an issue in our community that I don't think we address enough.
Correct.
Okay. So let's get back to Jesus. How has your relationship with Christ? Because it sounds like you have a lot going on. Okay. So somebody has to refill you, for you to be able to pour out. How has your relationship with Christ been able to help you to sustain all of this?
I think it's all in his word. And for me, I have some of the greatest customers in the world, and they pour into me. Because we can have some really good, candid conversations about stuff. And I'm the first to admit I'm not perfect. Believe that by far. He's still working on me. And so I'm glad for that. But needs to say is that me personally getting up every morning, making sure I'm doing, I'm reading my scripture. I try to make sure that I'm focusing on certain things to get done and accomplished. And I think that my men's group is amazing. The Men of Purpose, they're amazing. So I can always call somebody, if I'm going through something. And then also, I just surround myself with really good people. I often tell people, I know a lot of people, but I'm not around a lot of people, And so with that being said, I love everybody. I'll talk to you no matter what, but I'm around a certain group of people because doing everything I do, like some people can get arrogant and all that stuff. I'm not that type of person. I'm real humble. And so I like being around close family, close friends, and that's what helps sustain me in my life. And so staying, making sure I get up, do my devotion. I'm connecting with somebody. I'm sharing something that I've learned through my devotion, and just those are the things that I do.
All right, you are a amazing resource in our community, and amazing steward over your resources and talents. Tell to our listeners, what are some of the recommendations you might have for them, people who are interested in maybe entrepreneurship or even interested in just growing their relationship with Christ? What are some of the recommendations you would have for them?
I can start from the business first. Put God in your business. Number one. Every day you come to work, you ain't got to say a long prayer. Say, Lord, just give me the strength to go here and do your will in this place today, period. And let him work and get yourself out the way. One, you got to have a good product. Whatever you're doing in business, you got to have a good product. Now, you got to learn how. One thing I'm going to Columbus State, so I took this social marketing class and how to use social media platform, because that's what everybody's at right now, to better your business. And so, like, I didn't have to go back to Columbus State, but I want to, always be an avid learner. Be willing to learn something. Don't just get stuck in your ways. One of the things, try to keep things organized. I got folders that I put things in because I do so much. And so I have to be organized in order able to complete the tasks that I have to do. So if you're doing multiple things, whatever it is, maybe you might be coaching basketball, you might be an usher, you're involved in different things. So make sure you get your folders together so you can be organized. Another thing that I always try to tell people is just stay focused and have patience. That's one thing we struggle with, is patience. Sometimes I'm especially dealing with my sons. My patience is just sometimes a little bit that much, but you got to have patience. And again, we go back to be prepared to make some very, very tough decisions in your business and not look back, because once you make the decision, God's going to pour into it, because he gave you the power and the strength to be able to carry you through whatever you're going to be through. And then always know, don't be afraid to ask for help, because a lot of times we don't want to ask nobody for help and we end up falling. And then we got to got to bump your head a couple times. There are people like me and you who've been in business for a long time, and we can give some advice. My thing is, I listen first. Now, if you ask me, I'll just say, what do you think about it? And then you kind of say what you're going to say. So these are some things that I've experienced in my business for over 30 years that has helped me, or where things that where I wasn't so good at, but being able to, talk to somebody, or, you don't always have to have a mentor for a business, but you can also always talk to people that's been in the business for a long time. And I just think, number one, just when you put God in it, every day, it's going to be some hard days. So don't think it's going to be good. He wants to see what you're going to do. If you're going to depend on him, or if you're going to depend on you. And so, that's one thing that I can definitely say.
Amazing. Just a recap, an avid learner. Okay. And earlier you talked about reading books. So I do have a degree, but that degree ain't going to get you through business. Let me tell you that. Yeah. And when your customers come, they ain't going to get you through that. You better learn how to pick up a book, dial a friend, all of those good things. Then you talked a little bit about just putting God in it every day. That is required. I remember a time when every patient I prayed, even when you don't have customers, you pray. There's things you can do, but God can turn that thing around on a moment's notice. So, and he has the power to do it. So that is just awesome advice. So awesome advice. Our last question here is, how, my friend, has this entrepreneurial journey / walk with Christ changed you as a person?
Wow, that's big. It changed my. I've always had a heart of a compassion for giving and helping, but I think this walk with him has allowed me to see and do things I never thought I would, coming from the projects. To be able to experience true friendship, true love, and true good relationships. I think this walk has also been able to use me to pour into other people. And I was just talking to a guy today. I said, when I leave this earth, I'm leaving empty. I'm leaving empty. So all the young people that I talk to every summer, all the customers that come in, anybody who's been that we've been in contact with, I'm pouring in. So they got to do the job to pour back. So when I sit down with people and talk to them, I say, well, I talk to you. However, if I'm talking to you, you got to go bless somebody else. You got to pour into somebody else what you learn here. And so that way you can build your legacy on and on and on and on. And so just being able to pour into people and let God use me in my community the way he has and throughout the city pretty much and doing things. So I'm just looking for greater and better things still to come because he ain't done yet. I still got my help. So I got some more stuff to do.
Yes. So my listeners, all y'all out there, okay, what did he just say? If you heard this man today, it's your responsibility to go help somebody else, including myself. so you gotta help somebody else. That is the key to life. Is that when you come in contact with me or when you come in contact with him, you should leave bigger. You should live better. That is how you pour in, and then Christ is the one that refills us, so that we can continue to pour. Just like the lady with the oil. Do y'all remember that? He said, just go get some containers. And he just kept pouring and pouring and pouring. And her, what she was able to do was based on how many people she was able to ask and those containers she was able to get. His abundance is limitless. So I see you in those fly glasses. I do got to mention those, okay?
Oh,
he
yeah.
got on his He said he wanted to make sure he wore them on the show.
That's right.
So you looking fly.
I'm advertising. Yeah.
So Al, just let us know. This is our last thing. Let our listeners know how they can get in contact with you and how they might be able to help.
Well, I have a nonprofit called Making a Difference. It's www.columbusmad.org. You can go there if you want to volunteer, if you want to work with youth. We have a youth program that we do with young men at Champion Middle School. We're trying to expand it to East High School. So if you're not on this side of town, but you can always come. We're always looking for people who are professionals to come and share with our young people. And then, of course, a Cut Above the Rest barbershop, located on 346 North 20th Street, 253-8820 extension 5 if you need to reach me. And then we have some great things coming up this summer. We got some great things. We're bringing back our parade. Also, I'm president of the Mount Vernon Business Association. And so we putting together our parade that we used to do to honor our African-American veterans from our community coming up here in Memorial Weekend. And so if anyone wants to be involved in the parade, my email address is aledmondson, aledmondson @gmail. Email me. I will send you a parade application. We're looking for a youth group, church group, anybody who want to walk to celebrate our veterans. And we're going to print 1,000 flags down at the King Arts Complex. And so we would just want to celebrate. I'm a vet. And so I want to celebrate other veterans who have died and sacrificed for our country, just like I sacrificed my life going to the Persian Gulf. And so, what else? That's it. And we're going this year we're going to be doing the Soul of Columbus Food Festival. That's going to be our Making a Difference fundraiser. I used to do the Cultural Wall Music Festival over in Jefferson Park, over there where they on the bridge where they put the paper, And so now I'm rebranding it to the Soul of Columbus Food Festival. Delicious food trucks going to be out there. We're going to have some good music. We're going to have some jazz. We're going to have some blues. We're going to have some reggae. We're going to have some Caribbean. And so we're going to have Noble Arts is going to be there. So we got all the African art, all the stuff that you want to see. And that'll be the second week in July. You'll hear more about it coming up.
Wow. I know if y'all didn't catch that, I'm going to catch it for y'all, and I'm going to put it in the description for y'all, because I want y'all to be able to contact him and to just be able to participate in all the goodness that he has going on. So thank you, my friend, for being on my show. You truly show Millionaire Faith.
Thank you.
All right. And we will see you next time.
God
Bye.
bless everybody. Peace.